Please find your seats. The program will begin shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program is about to begin. Please rise for the presentation of colors by the Rochester Police Department Honor Guard.
Right, face. Post colors.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Carter and Cameron Evans, Olivia and Kai Eloy Evans.
Present.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Right, face. Forward.
Please welcome our host, owner of the Arbor Venues, Agathi Georgiou.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Arbor Midtown. My name is Agathi Georgiou Graham. My husband and I are owners of this venue, as well as Arbor Loft and Arbor at the Port of Rochester. We are so honored to be hosting this event tonight. You have no idea. This is such a dream of ours to be able to thank the city of Rochester like this. The city of Rochester has been involved with our businesses since the beginning. And the mayor specifically was so kind to attend our huge grand opening in January and assist with our ribbon cutting. To the mayor and to the city of Rochester, thank you so, so much. So you're standing in history, truly. I mean, this building used to be the Lincoln Alliance Bank in the 1930s. So everything that you see between the terrazzo flooring and the marble on the wall and the detailing in the ceiling, all of it is original to the building, and it was really important to us to keep so that our guests and our friends could enjoy it for years to come. I also want to mention that there are multiple exits. There's exits to my right, to your left, and obviously our stairwell as well as our elevator. Thank you once again. I will be here all evening, so if you have any questions about the venue, about our businesses, I look forward to answering your questions. And I just see so many familiar faces here tonight that are making me so nervous, like County Executive Adam Bello and my work mother, Elaine Spall. I'm so thrilled that you're all here to witness the glory of this beautiful venue. So thank you very much.
For tonight's invocation, please welcome Reverend Dr. Frederick Johnson Sr. of the First Genesis Baptist Church.
All right, there was a delayed clap there. All right, let us pray. The God who is able to do exceedingly and abundantly, the God who sits high and looks low, who knows the beginning from the end, who is the source of our strength and the strength of our life. It is as we gather for this honored occasion. We thank you, O God, for the great leaders of the city of Rochester, the county, those who are in areas of responsibility, the school board, and others who make governing decisions for this city. We pray that you would guide their decision-making and their thoughts, and to dream of the possibilities of the future, that greater days are ahead, that there is a future, and that the future is prosperous and has great promise. We thank you for those who are in leadership, and we pray that you would guide their decision-making, and God, that the greater days are ahead. And for that, we give you glory, praise, and honor. It is in Jesus' name, amen.
Please welcome Rochester's Deputy Mayor, Michael Burns.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 2024 State of the City Address. On behalf, here, that is definitely worthy of applause. On behalf of Mayor Malik D. Evans, I would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here tonight. I would like to acknowledge our Rochester Police Department Honor Guard for providing this event with the decorum that it deserves. And I would like to thank Pastor Fred Johnson of First Genesis Baptist Church for his inspiring invocation. Thanks especially to Agathie Georgiou, who is hosting us here in the beautiful and historic Arbor Midtown. Every person in this room is an important partner to the city of Rochester. The city's success relies on your dedication, your support, and your active participation to make our city strong. And so tonight, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to thank you all and to recognize our partners. I ask you to kindly hold your applause until I get through all the names. First, the members of our Rochester City Council. City Council President, Miguel Melendez. Vice President, Lachey D. Harris. Council Member, Mitch Gruber. Council Member, Willie J. Lightfoot. Council Member, Stanley Martin. Council Member, Kim Smith. Council Member, Mary Lupian. Council Member Michael Patterson, and Council Member Bridget A. Monroe. At the Rochester City School District, Special thanks to Superintendent Dr. Carmine Peluso, School Board President Cynthia Elliott, and other members of the RCSD Board. Next, we have the members of the Mayor's Senior Management Team. Please let's have our SMT members give a wave. Now, I would like to welcome our partners from Monroe County. Monroe County Executive Adam Bello and members of his leadership team, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter, Monroe County Legislature President Eversha Roman, Vice President Mercedes Vasquez Simmons, Majority Leader Michael Udelson, and all members of the county legislature. And from New York State, J.W. Cook, our Finger Lakes Regional Representative, who is here this evening representing our Governor, Kathy Hochul. Our State Assembly members, Harry Bronson, Sarah Clark, Jen Lunsford, and Damon Meeks, and State Senators, Samar Brook and Jeremy Cooney. Our federal representatives are crucial partners for the city of Rochester, and it is my distinct pleasure to acknowledge Congressman Joe Morelli, U.S. Senators Charles E. Schumer and Kirsten J. Gillibrand. The mayor likes to say, it's we, not me, and all these governmental partners have jumped right in with us, so thank you. Here with us tonight, we have leaders from higher education, our prestigious colleges and universities, leaders from our nonprofit community, business leaders, including the CEO of the Rochester Chamber of Commerce, who also happens to be the former mayor of Rochester and former New York State Lieutenant Governor Bob Duffy. Several leaders from Rochester's faith community are here tonight, as are members of the Race Commission and those working with the city, county, school district, and urban league to implement the race recommendations. We'd like to thank the members of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council and other youth leaders in our community. And I would like to wrap up by recognizing our partners in organized labor. One of the mayor's top priorities has been on developing, supporting, and empowering city employees. So I would like to give a special shout out to members from the Police Locust Club, led by Jeffrey Waiter, the Rochester Firefighters Union, Local 1071, led by Eddie Santiago, CSEA and President Margaret Chatterton, AFSCME, led by Mike Rivera, and the IUOE, led by John Tarasuk. We count on the work you do for this city every day. Rochester is a great city, in large part because so many people contribute in ways large and small to making our community a better place. And we know that some of you are joining us virtually tonight, some council members and others, and so we welcome you. On behalf of Mayor Evans, thank you all for being here, and thank you to all our partners. Let's have one more big round of applause for all of our partners.
In 2022, Malik D. Evans was sworn in as Rochester's 71st mayor during one of the most challenging times in modern history. a once-in-a-generation pandemic that claimed millions of lives and caused lasting damage to our community. Entering office with a history of fostering collaboration and bridge building, Mayor Evans was prepared for the challenges facing Rochester from day one. His mantra, "We, not me," has become the hallmark of his administration over the past 2 years. And now we are seeing the progress in public safety, youth, neighborhoods, and the building of a more prosperous future. Malik Evans is confronting the city's challenges with creativity, enacting such initiatives as the Rochester Peace Collective, innovative job creation, workforce development programs, the new Neighbors Building Neighborhood 2.0, Rochester University, and Mayor on the Block are bringing City Hall to the people. Under his leadership, Rochester's physical landscape will literally be transformed. Within his first 2 months on the job, we saw the state pledge to invest $100 million to revitalize the inner Loop North and commit to building a new state park at the base of the High Falls.
Hi, I'm Shawanda Evans.
Hi, I'm Carter Evans. Hi, I'm Cameron Evans. My dad has been committed to service since before he was my age. He knows that the seeds we will plant today will have a profound impact on the future generations. What he wants for his own family is what he wants for all the people of our city, a safe, equitable, and prosperous Rochester. My dad knows that by working together, there's nothing Rochester can't accomplish as a community. Tonight, he's going to lay out where we have been, and more importantly, where we are going as a city. Like he always says, we have a past to remember, a present to live, and a future to build. We're proud of the future he's building for Rochester and grateful for our entire community for supporting him. Please welcome my father, the 71st Mayor of Rochester, Malik D. Evans.
Thank you. Thank you. And the Lord said, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make paths in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. Isaiah 43:18. I open with that scripture because there are new things springing forth in Rochester, and I hope we can all perceive them. My son's middle name is also Isaiah. There's never been a better time to live, work, or play in Rochester than right now. Today, Rochester's neighborhoods are more diverse than ever before. Our businesses have more opportunities to succeed than ever before. Rochester's jobs are more varied and expansive than ever before. Our public spaces and public accommodations are more accessible, more barrier-free, and more welcoming than ever before. Rochester's many offerings for entertainment, recreation, enrichment are more exciting and abundant than ever before, beginning with our natural environment that's probably cleaner and greener today than it's been since the early days of the Industrial Revolution. I don't need to remind anyone here that Rochester is no longer the city it was in the middle of the 20th century, when the population hovered around 350,000 people and large-scale industrial manufacturing drove the economy. We have had to transform and adapt. And things are getting better with each new day because of our collective work and toil. This is why I am proud to stand before you tonight in this beautiful building. this magnificent monument at the intersection of our gilded past and our blossoming future, to offer an audacious assessment of our inspirational present. I stand before you tonight to report that the state of the city is strong and getting better every day because of our residents. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. We are making improvements, pursuing growth, and building equity. We still have work to do. But as my mother used to say, thank God we aren't where we were. Look at where we are, and you see a Rochester that, for the first time in more than 70 years, is nurturing growth and gaining value. You see a city where people in every neighborhood are building equity and working to create generational health. A city where parents strive to leave their children a legacy, not just an inheritance, but a legacy. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. You see a city that is its brother's keeper, a city that seeks to leave no one behind as it grows and prospers. You see a city that is moving into a prosperity mindset. And all of this is accelerating the pace of positive change, where each new improvement begets more improvement. As I said in last year's State of the City address, the solutions to Rochester's greatest challenges can be found in the hopes of the people who live in every neighborhood. And our role at City Hall is to deliver the opportunities that can turn those hopes into reality. And we've been doing just that. We're inspiring hope and delivering opportunity for everyone. And through the grace of God, the determination of those giants whose shoulders we are standing on tonight, we are not doing it alone. For the first time in generations, Rochester's elected leaders at every level of government are working together with the shared recognition that our city's greatest asset is the human potential of the people of Rochester. From City Hall to the county office building, to the state capitol in Albany, to the halls of Congress in Washington, all of Rochester's elected leaders are working together toward the same fundamental goal: empower the people of Rochester to reach their full potential so the city of Rochester can reach its full potential. Cities are more than just places. They're congregations of people whose interactions spark change and whose relationships drive progress. My partner, my friend in government at the county executive Adam Bello, knows this too. He and I both recognize that the city is the economic, social, and cultural core of this entire region. So if we are going to strengthen Monroe County and the Rochester region, we have to strengthen the people at its core so they can strengthen their community. Or as Dr. King put it, the large house in which we live demands that we transform this worldwide neighborhood into a worldwide brotherhood and sisterhood. Together, we must learn to live as brothers and sisters, or together we will be forced to perish as fools. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. Rochester has its first generation of leaders who not only share this viewpoint, but are actively working together to harness the awesome power of that worldwide brotherhood. Leaders who are committed to inspiring hope and delivering opportunity for everyone. This is our path in the wilderness, our rivers in the desert as described by the book of Isaiah. And together we're creating a safe and equitable and prosperous Rochester by inspiring hope and delivering opportunity for everyone. Just perceive these new things that are springing forth. Perceive how we are creating a safer Rochester. Public safety is our #1 priority, and every department in City Hall is playing a role. We're enhancing our recruitment efforts in the fire department and emergency communication department to reflect the communities we serve. And we rebooted the Pathways to Public Safety program for high school students to attract more city youth
to these rewarding careers. We deployed new code enforcement inspectors. We made numerous design upgrades to our streets and sidewalks to improve pedestrian safety. And soon, we will be rolling out our new Vision Zero plan that will help to chart our future of eliminating crashes that have robbed too many people of their lives. And most importantly, we're bringing crime and violence under control with our strategy of prevention, intervention, and suppression. We've convened unprecedented partnerships with law enforcement and public safety agencies at the county, state, and federal levels to address illegal guns, the most violent offenders, and the areas of the city with the highest incidence of violence. And our strategies are working. Incidents of crime and violence, especially from firearm violence, continue to fall. Together with the brave men and women of the Rochester Police Department, we are working to bring crime and violence under control. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. In the 2 years I've been in office, shootings, firearm-related deaths, and total homicides have declined significantly. Shootings are down 31%, firearm-related deaths down 29%, and total homicides have fallen 32%. And we are working to make sure those numbers continue to fall. But as I have said, I'm not patting myself on the back so hard that my arm is tired. Because as I have said, I am gratified, but I am not yet satisfied. I want to see those numbers fall even further. Our community deserves nothing less. And I'm confident crime will keep falling because our partnerships are growing stronger and our methods of collaboration are more effective, especially a method of crime reduction that I call focused accountability. While crime and violence are systemic issues with factors that touch almost every aspect of society, we are seeing that we can make a difference. We are making a difference, one illegal gun at a time, one arrest at a time, one hotspot for violence at a time. Violence is a function of human behavior. And what influences human behavior more than anything else? Other humans. By focusing accountability for the most violent perpetrators, we're removing those influences from the social dynamic of our neighborhoods and shutting down the deadly cycles of shootings and retaliations. For instance, the Rochester Police Department is the first municipal police agency in America with a 24/7 access to an ATF agent who reviews all gun arrests for the possibility for federal charges. As a result, we've seen more than 100 violent offenders into federal custody where they can no longer wreak havoc and perpetuate violence on our streets. And the RPD took more than 800 illegal guns off the streets last year at a rate of more than 2 per day. We launched a similar initiative with the Monroe County District Attorney's Office where an assistant DA responds directly to non-fatal shootings in the same way they do for homicides. Because anyone who is willing to settle a dispute with a gun must be taken off our streets before they can wreak more havoc and perpetuate more violence. Our law department also plays an important role in focused accountability by going after property owners who think it's okay to host large, illegal gatherings at their businesses and homes where they can become venues of violence. We closed down more than 20 such properties last year. And we're preventing violence and crime with targeted investments to keep people busy and help them prosper, one job at a time, one paycheck at a time. One child's future at a time. Nowhere is this truer than inside Rochester's Our Centers. Rochester's recreation and community centers are powerful community resources that offer much more than fun and games. We are preparing young people for future employment, teaching them how to handle money, how to manage their finances. We're teaching them entrepreneurial skills and work readiness. There's even an innovative class called Vocabulary that uses hip hop to teach vocabulary. And we're making sure our program offerings reflect the latest trends and interests of young people we serve, such as esports, skateboarding, and robotics. Speaking of robotics, the robotics team from the Frederick Douglass R Center, Rhythm Robotics, made it all the way to the regional championships this year. First Lego League robotics competition, where they also were recognized for their work to get more city youth engaged with this enriching and constructive activity. I was with them yesterday. I don't know if any of them are here, but if they are, they can wave their hands. Oh, there they are. They're back there. Give them a round of applause. Rochester's greatest asset is the human potential of its people. And that starts with our youth. And we're empowering our youth to hone that potential in the city's R centers. And beyond the richness of our program offerings, city R centers provide children with access to caring adults who have their best interests at heart. The people who work in our R centers are among the most dedicated public servants you'll ever meet. And they're passionate about helping our young people sort out their concerns. And we know they have many. So we brought in mental health counselors to give our young people the tools they need to confront their challenges. And we trained the staff to recognize signs of trauma so we can provide children with the proper support. To help focus on the root causes of crime, I created the Mayor's Office of Violence Prevention, which launched the Rochester Peace Collective, where 19 partner agencies are teaching more than 3,000 residents the skills they need to gain employment and be successful. One of these community programs is the Community Vanguard program, which helps city residents complete more than 400 courses for professional certifications. We're making Rochester safer with targeted investments in programs like Pathways to Peace, where workers completed more than 10,000 hours of street outreach in the past year, and we've added 9 youth intervention aides in city schools. And Pathways is establishing even more partnerships and collaborations. They launched a basketball tournament at Baden Park last year that promoted the values of teamwork and friendly competition while opening the door to new connections with more than 50 community-based organizations. We saw one early outcome from that in February when members of the Peace Collective partnered with Pathways to host a book bag and resource fair. And then we saw the Office of Violence Prevention work with our friends in the labor community to host the second annual Rochester Labor Apprenticeship and Career Fair, where more than 26 vendors from the trades. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. We're making Rochester safer with our on-call person in crisis team counselors who actively work to help residents understand that it's okay not to be okay. The PIC team responded to 10,000 calls last year, and we invested in enhanced PIC through our budget process last year. And their competence, compassion, and empathy literally saves lives. The PIC team responded to 33 calls for people with homicidal thoughts, including 8 with an intent to act. And 268 calls were for people with suicidal thoughts, including 20 that were already in progress. Think about that. Perceive these new things that springs forth. We are confronting and addressing some of the most heartbreaking and tragic maladies plaguing our neighborhoods. Our Neighborhood Ambassador program, for example, will offer care and support for those dealing with the pain of opioid addiction. Too many people are suffering in silence. Too many lives are being lost or ruined by these silent killers and thieves of potential. If it takes a village to raise a child, then it also takes a village to heal our community's deepest wounds. And if ever there was a time when we need to bring the village together. It's now. We can start the process of healing. We are starting the process of healing by leading our most vulnerable neighbors to the paths in the wilderness, the rivers, and the desert. In one of our most innovative programs, the Advanced Peace Fellowship introduces a new word to our violence reduction vocabulary: redemption. Redemption. Advanced Peace is a mentorship program where the mentors bring their hard-won experience to the table. We call them neighborhood change agents because they are credible messengers whose own life trajectory prepared them to talk without judgment and offer meaningful support. We focus this program in the 10th Ward, where neighborhood change agents hit the streets to recruit those who have become involved in violence to become Advanced Peace Fellows. They meet with these individuals twice a week with the initial goal of each conversation being nothing more than to have another conversation, to keep the fellows coming back. Over time, they gain one another's trust and move on to more in-depth conversations. They discuss how small steps can lead to big changes, how the world is bigger than the corners of the 10th Ward, how their lives have value, and how the lives of others have value too. They take them to get their driver's licenses and social security cards for job applications. They take them to buy clothes for interviews. They even took them to trips out of state, which for some was their first flight on a plane or even their first time away from Rochester. And it's working. Focused redemption is working. Since launching Advanced Peace, homicides in the 10th Ward have fallen 50%. And we'll be working to bring this model to other areas of the city. One of the fellows in the first cohort, a man named Master Glover, is a case study in focused redemption. Master came into the fellowship with scars of 8 gunshot wounds, a lifetime of emotional trauma, and goals that barely stretched beyond the day. Over time, change agents helped him see that he had more control over his life than he realized, showed him how to set goals and check them off one at a time. He got his own apartment, completed physical therapy, and found a job. Master and other Advanced Peace Fellows have set out a path forward and realized that violence on the street doesn't have to be normalized, that their lives deserve respect, and so do the lives of others. Now, Master is a credible messenger himself. He took a job with Rise Up Rochester, one of our partners in the Peace Collective that provides support to victims of violence. Master, I believe you're here tonight, and if you are, can you please stand? Master, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for sticking with this program and working to help others find their new path in the wilderness, their new rivers in the desert to begin healing. Master is hope inspired and opportunity realized. Let's give him another round of applause. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. Perceive how we are creating a more equitable Rochester. We're bringing people together to provide more residents with the foundation of a home, prospects for better paying jobs and entrepreneurial opportunities, and the essential elements of financial security like home ownership or starting a savings account. In addition to creating equity, financial security and economic mobility are truly paths to long-term sustainable safety. 2 years ago, we established the Office of Financial Empowerment to normalize entrepreneurship, home ownership, and setting children up for financially successful futures. Our Kiva Rochester program has been successful helping small business owners who have traditionally been locked out of the financial market to help them gain access to capital with crowdsourced interest-free microloans of $15,000. And just in the past year, since last April, we've helped businesses obtain 21 interest-free loans totaling $188,000. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. We launched the Business Start and Growth Entrepreneurial Training Program to provide small business owners with workshops, mentorships to learn such things as writing business plans, marketing, and grant writing. On the home ownership track, we gave more than 775 clients the skills to improve their financial outlooks. Collectively, they reduced their total debt load by more than $1.5 million and increased their total savings by more than $231,000. As we perceive these new things that are springing forth, we're partnering with the Rochester Housing Authority to help renters learn how to apply their assistance benefits toward a mortgage payment with financial counseling and incentives for down payments. We're encouraging property owners to shift to a prosperity mindset by hosting workshops that teach them how to leverage the equity in their homes to lower their payments, improve its value with smart home improvements, and prepare to pass that value and wealth on to the next generation. We're preparing our children for futures of economic mobility by working with a consortium of agencies on an exciting new program to establish an automatic children's savings account at the start of the 2025 school year. Every child who enters kindergarten in 2025 will be provided with a savings account and a nominal deposit of seed money, along with a schedule of matching incentives and bonus deposits that will continue on through their high school graduation. Just imagine the excitement they'll feel as they watch their very own money in their very own savings account grow and collect interest year after year. I am so grateful to our many partners who are working with us to make these programs possible. As we perceive these new things that spring forth, as I said many times, we're taking a page out of the former mayor of Atlanta, Maynard Jackson's playbook, to help more minority and women-owned enterprise firms get their fair share of the millions of dollars the city spends each year on goods and services, everything from office supplies and tires to construction projects. And over the past 2 years, we've increased city spending directed to MWBE firms by more than 120%. We're using our Arbor dollars to work towards equity by funding innovative programs like the Guaranteed Basic Income Pilot Program and Buy the Block Homeownership Program in formerly redlined neighborhoods. The Guaranteed Basic Income Program launched last year with the goal of providing more than 300 qualified individuals with 12 monthly payments of $500 without restriction. We put the power of the purse in the hands of community members who need it most. And our partners in the effort, researchers from the University of Notre Dame, provide us with valuable insight into the challenges of living near the poverty line. Another way, and another very important equity initiative of ours, is the lead service water line replacement project, now in its second year. We're continuing the work of replacing every old lead pipe by 2030. And we're prioritizing these replacements to occur in our most disadvantaged communities by using state-of-the-art mapping technology in line with our work with Bloomberg City Data Alliance. And since 2021, we've removed over 5,200 lead pipes, with more than half coming from homes in disadvantaged neighborhoods. And we have plans to remove another 2,900 lead pipes by the end of this year. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. And of course, one of the most effective ways to break the cycle of poverty is to provide more residents with the foundation of secure housing, either with rents they can afford or home ownership. Too many people are rent burdened, spending more than 30% of their incomes on housing. This leaves them with little to spend on other necessities like food and clothing, let alone establishing savings accounts to serve as buffers against emergencies and improve long-term prospects. This paradigm of rent burdening perpetuates the insidious damage of the poverty mindset. Children watch their parents scrape from paycheck to paycheck and learn that living in the moment is more urgent than preparing for the future. They aren't learning how to thrive, they're learning how to barely survive. Fortunately, Governor Hochul has increased the state's investment in affordable housing, and Rochester is reaping the benefits. Our Housing Bureau distinguished itself with the state by speeding up the timetable on housing developments from concept to completion, which is making Rochester an attractive place for new housing investments. What do I mean by this? Consider the projects that are currently underway. The 164 Center City Courtyard, which is under construction at Plymouth and Main. 123 units in Canal Commons on Canal Street. 128 units in the old Hickey Freeman building on North Clinton. The 76 Alta Vista project at Franklin and Plymouth. And the soon-to-be repurposed historic Edwards building with 114 affordable units. Since 2022, we've completed or started projects to build or renovate more than 1,000 market rate rental units and almost 1,700 affordable units, including 72 for extremely low income residents and 689 for very low income residents, for a total investment of an astonishing $685 million. That's over $750 million in citywide investment in just 2 years. Since 2022, we've helped owners close on 118 homes with a total value of $14 million. And as our land bank approaches its 10th anniversary, and celebrating years of recovering vacant properties from tax foreclosures, returning 162 formerly blighted homes to vitality, and generating more than $16 million in private investment. Perceive these new things as they spring forth. Our property values are rising for many neighborhoods for the first time in decades. In the coming months, I'll be working with our partners in the affordable home ownership sector, including Flower City Habitat for Humanity, the Rochester Housing Authority, and lenders to develop a comprehensive strategy to move the needle on Rochester's home ownership rate. The reality is the market conditions have changed, and likely for good. So it is important that we work together, because we can always do more together than we can do alone. Like we are in the Konya neighborhood, where the Buy the Block program is closing on the completion of 24 new homes and is getting ready to build 30 more near the Bull's Head area. As many know, this is one of my favorite projects, because not only are these houses good for owners and their families, they bring much needed stability to some of our most challenged neighborhoods. It's not a coincidence that the locations of the majority of the homicides over the past 10 years closely align with the red line neighborhoods of the old 3rd and 7th wards. Same goes for concentrated poverty. By the Block, along with our home repair grants for existing homeowners, are 2 examples of how we are making long overdue investments in these neighborhoods. I met Mionel Martinez, who lives in a By the Block home on Uyghur Street. Growing up in Rochester, Mionel attended 5 different elementary schools because her parents kept moving to follow factory jobs in the shrinking industrial manufacturing sector. Mionel has a daughter now, and she was determined to give them a home of their own. She became a medical secretary and began saving for a house. But that dream always seemed to be just over the horizon. So when the opportunity to apply for a By the Block house presented itself, she jumped at the chance. Not only was she selected to participate, she got her first choice floor plan, the Durand, which has an extra bedroom so family can visit. She participated in the required financial management program and learned about the challenges and opportunities of homeownership. She learned so much that she is encouraging her family and friends to take these courses. When she moved into her new home, Mionel bought a new bedroom set for her daughter. She decorated the upstairs hallway with pictures and posters of her favorite place, New York City, along with a picture of her mother. And sometimes when she's in her new home, drinking her coffee, remembering all that it took to get there, she starts to tear up. Because her dream has come true. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. Recently, Mionel's daughter told her she was going to join the National Guard after high school. Mionel is proud of her daughter for taking such a courageous early step into adulthood. Military deployment can take her anywhere in the world. And when the time comes to send her daughter off to basic training, Mionel will know one thing. The house her daughter leaves will be the same one she comes home to. Mionel's story reminds me of a beautiful African proverb. Parents wish to bequeath 2 things to their children. One is roots. The other is wings. By the Block has given Mionel and many other families in our city solid roots that enable their children to launch in flight. I believe Mionel is here tonight, and if she can just stand so we can thank her for allowing me to share that beautiful story. Thank you. Thank you, Mionel. Perceive this new thing, these new things that spring forth. Perceive how we are inspiring hope and delivering opportunity. Perceive how we are building a more prosperous Rochester because we are positioning our city for growth and preparing for more. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. The 2020 census reflected Rochester's first population increase since 1950. And beyond the tally of the census, we see evidence of the city's growth in the demand for housing and the pace of new construction. And there are indicators to suggest that more growth is on the way, driven by things like climate migration, refugee resettlement, and remote work, to name a few. And you can see evidence of this growth on the ground, literally on the ground. 2 of the housing developments I mentioned earlier, Center City Courtyard and Alta Vista, are springing up from empty parcels that were left when vacant buildings were turned down. Developments like Center City Courtyard and Alta Vista are tangible proof of a Rochester that's growing and gaining value. Fortunately, We're ready for this growth because our Rochester 2034 comprehensive plan set the stage for it. We're redrafting our zoning code and updating our zoning map to assist with guiding future development with a growth mindset. We must also remember that true prosperity includes more than financial success. And that's why I'm so proud of the progress we're making on the Percent for the Arts Fund, where we set aside 1% of our capital improvement budget each year to spend on public art, which can be permanent and physical, like a statue or mural, or it can be performing arts or education. We launched the first round of the Arts Bloom initiative last year and awarded $100,000 to 6 arts programs, including the Avenue Black Box Theater on Joseph Avenue, the Borinquen Dance Theater, and the Revelation Art Center, which is providing art classes at the House of Mercy. It's hard to think of anything that promotes a prosperity mindset or a growth mindset more than the arts. As Maya Angelou said, we need to remember that we are all creative, and can invent new scenarios as frequently as needed. We're also making sure our residents play an active role in shaping growth and investment in their neighborhoods through our community university. And I'm excited to develop a new citizen engagement initiative modeled on the award-winning Neighbors Building Neighbors program. We are seeing prosperity and the prosperity mindset take hold all across the city. Our business development team is facilitating job growth and job retention. Since the start of 2022, they've supported more than $151 million in total investments among businesses that are opening or expanding in the city. These include Green Spark Solar, the #1 company on the Rochester Business Journal's latest top 100 list of fastest growing companies. Green Spark will be moving into downtown Rochester, bringing 80 jobs and plans to create more than 240 jobs within 5 years. The business development team also supported the acquisition of the old Hickey Freeman building by the Tom James Clothing Company, preserving 200 jobs, creating 45 more, and maintaining the long tradition of high-quality men's clothing being manufactured on North Clinton Avenue. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. At Sibley Square, almost 1 million square feet of mixed-use space is nearing full capacity. The Commissary, Rochester's downtown kitchen incubator, is preparing aspiring food entrepreneurs to make the jump into restaurants, catering, and food truck businesses. We can expect to see more dining establishments become the new anchors of our commercial corridors, the way El Pilon and Borinquen Bakery are vital anchors on North Clinton Avenue, or People's Choice Kitchen on Brooks Avenue, and Jamaican Soul on Genesee Street. These places are neighborhood institutions that create vibrancy and opportunities for the residents and businesses around them. Meanwhile, Rochester's history of innovation has prepared a foundation for the next generation of high-tech companies. Sun Density and Bandwidth recently opened here. And JCS Process and Controls, its Ultrafill subsidiary, are using space in the Sibley building to launch a new technology that makes it easier for small beverage companies to start bottling and batching lines. NextCore is expanding, in its highly successful Luminate Accelerator program is moving more photonics, optics, and imaging companies like Sun Density into our high-tech sector. One of them, Oculi, was operating out of Baltimore when it entered the Luminate program. But upon graduation, they opted to stay in Rochester. CEO Charbel Rizek had this to say about his decision, and I quote, "The Luminate program team in the region surpassed my expectations. I learned so much about the beautiful Finger Lakes region and the relevant ecosystem that exists here. Had I known that earlier on, it would have been my company's home from day one. Had I known, had I only known. So many people say that about living in Rochester and doing business here once they get to know us. And as we attract businesses from other states, our city also draws in visionary companies from our own backyard. In just a few short months, Rochester will become home and welcome its first Fortune 500 company to downtown in decades, Constellation Brands. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. This longtime king of the adult beverage industry will be moving into the Aqueduct building this summer, infusing our downtown with hundreds of workers and more than likely more than a few new residents to join the more than 10,000 people who call downtown home as part of our growing live, work, play environment of our center city. We know that one of the major factors that attract businesses and residents to downtown is the ongoing physical transformation that we're driving with hundreds of millions of dollars of capital projects across the city, especially the Rock the Riverway waterfront revitalization program. We're closing in on completion of the new street design in the Aqueduct District in the Main Street Bridge area. We also upgraded Genesee Gateway Park and High Falls Terrace Park, including the new Brewery Line Trail that extends the path from the Pont de Rennes across the river. We'll be upgrading the St. Paul Street underpass to make it more inviting for bicyclists and pedestrians to travel between the St. Paul corridor and the High Falls district, with a stop at the Genesee Brewhouse, of course. Or along the newly renovated Pont de Rennes to take a view of Rochester's most commanding landmark, the 96-foot High Falls. Rock the Riverway projects will continue moving forward, and this year we'll launch the second and third phases of the Rock City Skate Park and complete the Sister Cities Bridge. And we'll also not only complete major renovations to the Charles Carroll Park along the river, but we'll rename it too. Because as we perceive this new thing, we're shedding old, antiquated, and in this case, undeserved and racist histories. Charles Carroll was not a Rochesterian and is not a figure we choose to commemorate. As City Council proposed in 2021, we are renaming that plaza. And I am proud to announce that it will be renamed for one of my heroes, Austin Stewart. It will be renamed Austin Stewart Plaza. After our city's first prominent Black business owner, an entrepreneur who not only gained freedom from slavery, but opened a successful business, operated the first school for Black children in Rochester, and wrote his memoir, 22 Years a Slave and 40 Years a Freeman. That's the history we need to celebrate. That's the mindset we want to lift up, and let that serve as an inspiration. We are connecting the dots to our meaningful and inspirational history. And we are connecting the dots to an inspirational future. All these projects come together. The image that is coming into view is one of a downtown Rochester straddling a vibrant riverfront with dozens of destinations connected by continuous walking and biking trails along the water's edge. And these connections, and as these connections get made, it becomes easier to imagine students from, say, the University of Rochester operating kayak rentals, ice cream stands, and coffee shops at Brooks Landing. It's easier to imagine the vacuum oil site as an economic driver for the Plex neighborhood with 15 acres of prime waterfront real estate and thousands of feet of shoreline. You can see how the Genesee River is becoming a ribbon of vitality flowing between the South Wedge and Cornhill Landing, with its banks lined with people jogging or biking or simply enjoying a picnic lunch. Erie Canal boaters will stop for the night at Rochester's downtown harbor, managed by a certified harbor master from Cornhill Navigation. And Rochester's two largest visitor destinations, the Joseph A. Floriano Rochester Riverside Convention Center and the Blue Cross Arena at the War Memorial, will face the river. And they'll be connected by the aqueduct, which will be converted into a pedestrian walkway that will tie into the north terrace of the Rundell Library. From there, the Riverway Trail could continue on the other waterfront destinations along boardwalks over the river, similar to the one at Turning Point Park. Our possibilities are endless. And if you think of all the progress that it will end at the north end of downtown, think again. At some point, the revitalized riverfront will tie into the more than 20 acres of brand new real estate where the Interloop North used to be. We'll soon be soliciting public input for this project, and we've reconvened the more than 50-member Interloop North Community Advisory Committee. In stark contrast to the process that ripped apart minority neighborhoods to make room for the original Interloop more than 60 years ago, we're committed to engaging the public on a path forward. Likewise, the Bull's Head Revitalization Project is coming along, with community engagement playing a critical role here as well. We secured $7.5 million from the U.S. Department of Transportation in a grant to design a street pattern in Bull's Head, along with an $800,000 EPA grant for an environmental cleanup project that is already underway. And I am pleased that ESL Federal Credit Union announced its intention to build a new branch that will serve as an important anchor at the revitalized Bull's Head Plaza. Meanwhile, the construction phase of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative has already started, which will soon eradicate the abomination across the street from us here at the corner of Main and Clinton. And I already mentioned the Alta Vista and the Edwards building, but there is so much more. Stately buildings will be restored to their original architectural splendor with modern, carbon-neutral twists to host a mix of uses, including middle-income housing and storefront retail. The DMV, Traffic Court, and Parking Bureau will remain in place, and the historic Glennie building has already been restored for apartments. Next, the Kresge building, where the old Family Dollar was, will lose that brown siding to reveal its rich architectural styling as the front of a new boutique hotel. And that will overlook the new Main Street Commons outdoor plaza extending back to Mortimer Street. Moving down St. Paul Street, in addition to affordable housing, the Edwards building will have commercial space on the ground floor. And this is just a small section of the ongoing metamorphosis of our city. From the beginning of 2022, when I first took office, through the end of this year, we'll have started or completed more than 40 transformational infrastructure projects for a total investment of almost $300 million, creating more than 3,000 construction jobs. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. To get a clear picture of how this transformation is creating prosperity, consider the story of one of my heroes in Rochester, Lenora Page, owner and president of the Rochester Specialty Contractors, a proud MWBE certified business. She moved to Rochester from Mississippi 40 years ago with her brothers, who ran their own construction company. At first, like many Rochesterians, Lenora entered the world of work as an employee at Eastman Kodak Company, which served as a valuable training ground for her future as an entrepreneur. When you own your own business, your customers are your bosses, and the only performance review you can only really count on is whether they return as repeat customers. At Kodak, Lenora was able to sharpen her skills with more precise feedback from her supervisors, but eventually she was bit by the entrepreneurship bug and went to work with her brothers, where she could apply the administrative skills she learned at Kodak as an office manager. By 2007, her brothers had moved away, and Lenora started her own company with just 3 employees. Like many successful business people, she started small, but with a plan for growth. She entered the construction industry as a subcontractor for larger companies, focusing on asbestos removal and other abatement work. Today, she is a prime contractor with 22 employees, many of whom grew up in Rochester's most challenged neighborhoods and now own homes of their own. And like many Black and brown pioneers in many industries, Lenora overcame racist preconceptions and subversive practices to sabotage her success by setting an example of excellence that far exceeded her competitors. And that's when the bite of that entrepreneurship bug really took hold. Because the completion of each new project infused Lenora with something she never experienced at Kodak: pride of ownership. To this day, more than 25 years after starting her company, Lenora can feel a sense of self-satisfying pleasure when she drives around the city and sees the buildings and landmarks that she and her employees helped build or renovate. These include the renovation of the Frederick Douglass International Airport, the MCC downtown campus, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, the Rochester School for the Deaf, along with many others across the state. Her crews have been inside just about every school in the city as part of the school modernization program. And one of her employees experienced his own pride of ownership when he worked on his own children's school. Since starting her business, Lenora has witnessed a positive evolution of Rochester's entrepreneurial ecosystem, driven in large part by the region's investment and growth. For one thing, she's seen the relationship between prime contractors and subcontractors become more positive, almost mentor-like, as a necessity to work together more effectively to meet the growing demands that comes with more projects to bid on. As her businesses have grown, Lenora now has plans to make her own investment in the city to become the mentor she sometimes wished she had. She recently purchased an old factory building on Portland Avenue that's been vacant for more than a decade. It will serve as her company's headquarters, and she intends to include a small business incubator and industrial kitchen for food truck operators there. This is why entrepreneurship is such a critical component of our work at City Hall. We need more small business people like Lenora who can see the underlying potential of their employees and give them a chance to succeed. Lenora, I believe she's here tonight. Lenora, will you please stand and accept gratitude for giving back to our city? Thank you. Perceive this new thing that springs forth. Perceive how we inspire hope for everyone, how we deliver opportunity for everyone. We look at where we are, as my mama would say, and we thank God. A little more than 2 years ago, I accepted the great responsibility to lead this great city. On that day, I issued a call. I asked you to join me so we could lift our city together in the spirit of the mantra, it's we, not me. I asked you to let that be the day that we usher in the Rochester way. I asked you to let that be the day we reaffirmed our respect for the preciousness of life so violence and destruction could not and would not be normalized. I asked you to let that be the day that any child who wants a job can find one. I asked you to let that be the day that we made sure no one would get left behind as we recovered from the pandemic. I ask you to let that be the day that home ownership becomes a reality for those who thought it never would be. I asked you to join me, and you did. I asked you to help me do these things, and now we are. We are doing these things, and Rochester is better, and it will only get better. Rochester is better than it was, and it will get better with each new day. And now I'm asking you to join me again. Join me today to perceive the new things that are springing forth. Recognize and embrace these new paths we are creating, these new rivers that will continue to inspire hope and deliver opportunity for everyone. Join me, Rochester, as we move to a prosperity mindset together. Join us as Rochester grows together. I'll end with a quote from Dr. King when he spoke about the future back in September of 1957. He stated, "And so let us go out and work with renewed vigor to make the unfolding work of destiny a reality in our generation. We must not slow up. Let's us keep moving. Let us keep moving." Thank you all. Let us keep moving. Thank you all, and God bless you all, and God bless the city of Rochester.